Amen. How many of you all heard the storms last night, early this morning, 4 o'clock in the morning? Stop just in time so you can get to church. You probably woke up at 4 o'clock and said, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Won't be up at 4 o'clock. Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11. By way of commercial, we started our study in the book of Hebrews this past Wednesday night. Some interesting stuff. I learned a little. If you haven't been coming, you might want to come. Hebrews chapter 11, verses 8 through 16. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive as an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. By faith, he dwelt in the land of promise as in a foreign country, dwelling in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he waited for the city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. By faith, Sarah herself also received strength to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was past the age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore, from one man, and him as good as dead, were born as many as the stars of the sky, in multitude innumerable as the sand which is by the seashore. These all died in faith, not having received the promise, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them, embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. For those who say such things declare plainly that they seek a homeland. And truly, if they had called to mind that country from which they had come out, they would have had opportunity to return. But now they desire a better, that is, a heavenly country. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. Amen. Living by faith, part 3. How to trust in God without knowing what's coming. How to trust in God without knowing what's coming. I told you we had the pleasure of going to see the Rough Riders play on Friday night. And after the game, because I wasn't able to really link up with Sister Nicole, but you know, God works things out as he does. She had parking passes, and I couldn't get to the parking pass, so I parked in the general parking, which is actually at the mall. So it was free. It's not a bad walk, nice and short. We were on the way back, and we were standing at the light, and I heard this little boy over beside me say to his father, he said, "Are you drunk?" So you know, you don't really want this. So you kind of turn and look the other way, but you kind of cock your head, you know. So I'm looking, and I heard the man, and he was mumbling. And it sounded slurred, and then his daughter said, "You sure didn't drink a lot." Now the boy had to be about 7, and the daughter had to be about 9. And then she said, "Is mama driving? I want to ride with you." And then they were walking, and I told Adrian, and she started laughing, and we looked at the man. And he was, you know, back and forth. You know, they got beer out of the ballpark, so I'm sure he must have had a lot. He was out. Now I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, his daughter has lost all faith in her dad. She hopes to get home. She places her faith where? In her mom. Just so happened they were parked right in front of us. The mother had another child in her hands, and as they got to the van, she ran ahead opened the passenger door for him, as if to say, you ain't driving. He fell in the car, and the little girl started smiling. It's funny that here on the earth, we have faith in people, for certain, we do. There's nothing wrong with that. But see, here, you always have an alternative. See, she had an alternative. Well, you can't do it. I'll place my faith in somebody else. I always have an alternative. Now, the alternative is usually based on what we can see coming. Obviously, you're drunk. Even though you're my daddy, and normally I would trust you to get me home. This is one of the times when I can alter my faith because I see what's coming. When we deal with God, though, we don't deal with God by knowing what's coming. Now let me dispel something right off the bat. There is no such thing as blind faith. It is blind if we know evidence. The reason you have faith in God is because of the evidence of what you see. You know He's real. That's all He said. Remember verse 6? Know that He is. That's all He said. If you know who He is, then there's no need for blind faith. Let me tell you what blind faith will do to you. Remember, I was teaching a class when I was at First Baptist Church in Hamilton Park, and we were talking a little bit about faith. And one of the ladies said in the class, I have so much faith in God that I believe I could just walk out on 635 at 5 o'clock and just walk straight through and not get hit. That's what blind faith will do to you. It'll get you hit. Another lady said, yeah, I have faith. I believe if I had to get to California and I didn't have any gas in the car, no money. Because, you know, I had to say, well, no, that's not really faith. That's foolishness. To walk out in traffic, talking about God going to keep you from getting hit. That's trying God. You know, He don't want you to try Him like that. But the other lady said, well, you know, I really believe that if I have to get to California and I don't have any gas, that I can make it. I said, yeah, and let me tell you how you're going to make it. You would tell your church family that you have to get to California. Your faith in God will be sure that we put some gas in your car and give you some money to fill up along the way. Faith in God is not blind, nor is it stupid. But let me tell you this, it is a disconnection of your own logic because you have to believe in Him who you can't see. There's a difference. You have to disconnect your logic and say, it's not about what's coming, it's about the one that I have faith in. Now, we always talk about we're standing on the promises of God. Right? What if you get the promise wrong? What if you have the promise wrong? What if you just misread the promise? What if somebody told you what the promise was, but that's really not what the promise is? And you're standing on the promises of God. See, what you actually are doing is standing on God. Period. End of story. The Lord is the one that I have faith in.